global financial collapse triggered off a barrage of regulatory requirements for institutions to ensure that they have their compliance and operations and their corporate governance systems and controls and their house in order. And that was really to protect consumers and to prevent market abuse happening, etc. So a lot of new regulations started to come out, and the scope of it is so vast, so huge, that it got to a stage where I think everyone in the financial services ecosystem has kind of taken a step back and thinking, what do we do? How do we address this now? We can't keep looking at things in a piecemeal way.
The banks are up against huge pressure because of fintech companies. These are technology companies that are stepping into the banking world. Our banking customers need to have access to structured, unstructured, and semi-structured data. The regulations themselves demand it.
From a regulatory standpoint, the regulator needs to keep up to date with the regulations. They need to receive that data. They need to get all that information. They need to ingest it and understand what they're going to do with it. Data is key. They receive their information through some kind of report, whether it's a periodic, positional, submission, or disclosure, trade or transaction report. It's some form of report that goes to the regulator, and that's how they're able to regulate that market. And what you'll find in banks is they have to build new infrastructure and build in new procedures for these new regulations on legacy systems that were never built for this particular purpose in the first place.
Many of our customers utilize our big data strategies to provide practical outcomes to help them with customer service, interacting with compliance requirements, interacting with fraud, interacting with all the different areas of their banking processes, front office, middle, back office.
The kind of approach we see most of our customers taking today is going away from that piecemeal and tactical strategy to taking a more holistic approach, looking at a number of regulations together, looking at the core information requirements for those regulations, and building a platform that allows them to hopefully address those regulations together, but at the same time also be prepared for new regulations that are coming on board in the next few months or years.
It's a case of too many regulations on a global level. On average, a firm has 160 different reporting requirements in different jurisdictions with different drivers behind them. So that is quite challenging in terms of keeping up with those regulations, and whilst adhering to one regulation, not overstepping the boundaries with another.
With the regulators and with our banking customers, our whole goal is to take IT out of the middle so that the bankers can do their job. We're providing self-service access so that the type of data that they need is at their fingertips. We're helping our banks create digital compliance processes, which means that we're helping them with access to the data, processing the data, reporting on the data so that they can make better decisions and they can be in compliance and deal with the audits that are going to come.
At Hitachi, we think regulation should be seen as an opportunity. On the back of the amount of money that's allocated for regulation, banks should try and reinvent and transform themselves so that all the information or the platform that they're building and all the information that they're putting together just to serve the regulation, that should get leveraged to help the banks actually achieve operational efficiencies and innovate for the future.
The market is changing. In 3 to 5 years, banking will be radically different because of who's entering the marketplace. The banks that we work with aren't startups anymore, but they have to act like startups. They have to provide innovative solutions and strategies, but they have to leverage what they already have and the ecosystem of all the different technologies that they have. Data is the core for digital transformation in the banks.